Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Rant Line Radio. It's the Carcast after USC's 30-27 overtime loss to the TCU Horned Frogs. The Trojans lose yet again in the state of Texas. They have not won in the state of Texas in 29 years. It continues. A collapse late in the Alamo Bowl. We're going to talk about it, give you a reaction, and so much more on this episode. As always, you can follow us on social media at Rant Troy. Email us, rantoftroy@fanside.com. Phone number, 818-643-7227. Suckawoods Bruin Show. I'm your host, Michael Castillo, journalist, with my co-host here in the Rant Troy studio in Los Angeles, powered by Fanside at Alicia Artola, whatever your name is.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. What a game that was, huh?
Oh, what a game. What a game, what a game. It felt like it was 2022 all over again.
Well, you want to take it away with your initial monologue, shall you?
Yeah. I think it's kind of funny that I spent most of this fall being told I was too negative for saying that I'm out on Lincoln Riley in the sense that, like, I don't think he's the coach that will lead USC to the promised land. I'm on the record there. But what's funny to me, and certainly with our chat talking the way that they are and what I'm seeing on Twitter right now, what's funny to me is that, like, this game to me is not the indictment on Lincoln Riley that people think it is. This game is just, it's a bowl game that happened in weird ways, and it is indicative of some of the things that are super concerning about Lincoln Riley, some of the things that I think are why I personally am just not invested in him as the right head coach for USC. But mostly it was just a bowl game, you know? I think there were far more positives from this game than negatives. Thank you for the super chat, Teacher Aaron. I'm sorry. Super chat. I don't think I'm going scorched earth for you. Mainly because, like, I have formed my opinion on Lincoln Riley already. And this game, if USC won it, wasn't going to change it. And certainly losing it doesn't change it. Like I said, there were way more positives in this game than negatives for me. It sucks that it ended the way it did. It is concerning that it ended the way it did because it ended exactly like the Tulane game, a game that USC was in control and that USC found a way to lose. That is something that you have to ask a question of Lincoln Riley. Why does USC find ways to lose as often as they do? It sucks that it ended with a litany of missed tackles on the sideline in a game where I thought that the defense clearly looked rusty on the tackling front, but played with as much heat and aggression and hard-hitting approach as we have seen all season, and looked like past that physicality eye test in a way that they don't often do. In a game where I think we saw some great contributions from some young guys that are going to be important for USC in the future. It just sucks that they sort of undo whatever good feelings we might have had about this defensive performance by missing basic tackles that would have at least extended the game, if not won the game, because the kick was not going to be a sure thing. My overall feeling is this. This was a defense that was out of the blue being coached without their defensive coordinator, with a first-time play caller on the defense, without three of their best players. It was mostly a look at what the future holds for USC in terms of the personnel thing. And mostly it was a positive image of the personnel situation. I thought the defensive line was as good as it's been all season. Jide Abasiri looks great. It was great to see Jaw Jarrett get in there for a bit. Cam Crawford had one of his best games of the season. Braylon Shelby was out there doing a good job. Desmond Stevens even went out there and made some plays. Alex Graham certainly looks like he was advertised. And on offense, I think we have to keep in mind that this offense was piecemeal at best. Jaden Mayava did not have a good game. His 2 interceptions cost USC the game, pretty much. Certainly the one in the end zone. It's a different game if he doesn't throw that, and both of them were bad throws, bad decisions. At the same time, like, I tweeted the depth chart for this game, and the offensive depth chart of guys who participated heavily in this game. You've got a redshirt freshman, true freshman at running back. You've got a sophomore freshman at wide receiver. You've got a true freshman wide receiver number 1. You've got Jay Fair and Jaden Richardson who are what they are, and we know they're not starting caliber, except Jaden Richardson's catch was, we're going to talk about that later. A converted linebacker starting at tight end with a true freshman tight end heavily playing behind him. The starting left tackle who is actually a left guard. A first-time starter redshirt freshman at left guard. The outgoing senior at center. A walk-on redshirt freshman at right guard starting, and a redshirt freshman at right tackle starting, with literally all freshmen behind them as backups. I don't think it should come as a surprise that this offense struggled to run the ball. I don't think it should come as a surprise that there were chemistry sort of hiccups between the wide receivers and the quarterback. I don't think it's a surprise that the offense was pretty much out of sync for most of the game. And thus only scoring 27 points sort of fits the bill for me. What's frustrating for me on offense is mostly that last drive. The goal line in overtime was very frustrating as well. I think there was play calling that was just not realistic given what USC had on the field. Like, I bring up all those freshmen that USC is playing, and to me, what you have to do as an offensive coordinator is mitigate your weaknesses. Your weaknesses in this case are you have a piecemeal offensive line of guys who have not played together, who have barely any experience, and choosing to try to run the ball straight up the middle the way that USC did in those final sequences was just brainless to me. It was never going to work. It was the wrong call. Choosing on 3rd and 6 to just throw a YOLO ball down the field is a very low percentage play. Didn't like that. The end zone fades, low percentage plays, didn't like those. So there's definitely play calling things to gripe about with Lincoln Riley. Mostly less about the play calls for me, and mostly the lack of recognition of what personnel you had out there and how to work around them. Just because you want your offensive line to say they're tougher than that defensive line doesn't mean they are capable of doing it, you know? But at the same time, like, King Miller looked awesome. Riley Wormley had some good moments. James Johnson had some good moments. Tanook Hines is wide receiver number 1. He just is. Jaden Richardson had one of the best catches I've ever seen. The tight ends were involved and did a really good job for their first action. The offensive line was functional for most of the game. Defensively, we got to see some really exciting players who are going to have big roles for USC in the future, show that they are, like, there's a reason that people are excited about them. Cam Crawford with one of his better games as a Trojan. Alex Graham, Christian Pierce has that missed tackle late, but I thought he had a couple really good moments. We got to see Tamir Robinson in there. We got to see Jaden Walker get a lot of playing time. Floyd Boucard had a bunch of good moments. Jaden Ramos was out there and looking huge. AJ Tuatele had a big play when he got in. So more than anything, I'm looking at this and asking myself, as a bowl game, did USC show me what I needed to see from a personnel standpoint to go into next season feeling somewhat confident that the replacements that are coming up the pipeline will be able to hold their own? And I think we got the answer for more of them than not, that they're going to be fine, that guys are ready to take that step up and be really competitive and play hard and aggressive. All of that is under the umbrella of USC needing a new defensive coordinator and not knowing, like, this defense that you saw tonight outside of personnel is not the defense that will be taking the field in September. And we don't know what that defense will be. It could be worse than this. It could be a lot better than this. So I'm not taking like the defensive performance structurally too seriously. I'm not taking the missed tackles too seriously. It's just I don't know. It's just a thing. Not acceptable. Certainly not acceptable, but also it's been a month and it's the bowl game, and you know what? I don't know. It's just not like the biggest concern in my head. What I liked about this defensive performance is guys looked like they knew where to be. Guys looked like they knew how to react quickly. That kind of stuff is really encouraging. So, all in all, am I happy? No, I hate USC losing. The thing about bowls not mattering is bullshit. Bowls don't matter in the sense that win or lose, there's a lot more that you can take from it than just adding a win to the win column or a loss to the loss column. But I've always felt they mattered because, number one, I care. I was sitting there in the last minutes losing my mind, tense, anxious. I'm feeling tense and frustrated right now for a game that, quote unquote, didn't matter. Well, obviously my body thinks it freaking mattered. It mattered to the players, clearly, which matters a lot to me too, because I want players who want to win and who want to compete. And I think we did see that tonight. There was just too many hurdles in the way. So yeah, it's like simultaneously not that deep and also that deep. So I don't know. It's frustrating. It would have been really nice to talk about this game as a win.
Yeah, but I also don't think it's that deep.
It's not that deep.
This was a bowl game in which SC, you laid out all the people they weren't with. They weren't with their Biletnikoff award-winning wide receiver, Mekhi Lemon. Their highly productive red zone threat, Jacoby Lane, both starting tight ends, multiple guys in the offensive line, an All-American safety in Bishop Fitzgerald, a guy who was All-American caliber last year in Kamari Ramsey, Eric Gentry, Devin Tompkins is in the portal, and they just found out this morning that Danton Lynn is not going to be the defensive coordinator or call defensive plays. So I really don't care about the defensive performance at all. I thought there were it was fun to watch some guys that we just haven't seen much of. I thought Floyd Boucard looked good. I thought Judea Masiri looked good. Desmond Stevens, I thought, had his moments in this game. And then on offense, it was the same thing. Nello Tupou, I thought, had a pretty good showing for the situation that he was put in there to be the starting tight end. You talked about Riley Wormley and King Miller. Yeah, I thought Jaden Mayava was not good. He looked too many times in this game that he was making his decision before the snap of where he was going to go. both interceptions to me looked like he had made the decision pre-snap where he was going. And neither of those things were there. He threw them anyways. And you can't do that. You can't do it. To his credit, he has the memory of a goldfish. And like he usually throws an interception, he comes back with a touchdown drive. And he did that. He threw a lob, fade type pass to Jaden Richardson from Tufts, who makes an absolutely insane catch. And SC scores. They go up two scores. They lost to a backup quarterback, a guy that was 0-22 against Power 5 opponents.
USC has a very frustrating way of making backup quarterbacks look like they are All-Americans.
But also, this is the TCU team that had one guy not play in this game.
Yeah.
Two, because one of their receivers was out too, also, but for an injury. But and that was Hoover, the quarterback, and so they had to go with Ken Seals. And objectively, like, Ken Seals is a fun story. Like, if you're not an SC fan, I think that like Ken Seals is a fun story. Dude that just like got his ass kicked at Vanderbilt, goes to TCU, holds a clipboard for a couple of years, randomly gets the start in the Alamo Bowl, and wins it in overtime. Like, that's a cool story you'll tell your kids if you're Ken Seals, right? But the frustrating part for SC in this game is I thought Maava threw two real bad interceptions. I agree that the play calling, especially in overtime, was horrific. To give Lincoln Riley just the smidge of benefit of the doubt, I'm guessing that it was the most uncreative play calling you've ever seen, in part because he knows he doesn't have the full bag of tricks without the full complement of players. And so then, therefore, it's very simplified, and it's just dive up the middle or power or goal line fade. But, like, none of those things were working. Just run your offense. Just run your offense. And it's hard to run your offense, again, when you don't have all those dudes. So, like, I get it, but also do something. At the same time, like, I know there's a lot of comments in the chat about, like, this is prime example of why Lincoln Riley sucks or whatever. It's not. Like, it's like there's a million.
There are a lot of things I can point to.
There's a long list of Lincoln Riley gripes that I think you can totally have. And I'm not sitting here and saying that, like, I loved how the game was coached or anything, but, like, this is so low on the pecking order of gripes that, like, and it sucks because, like, I think bowl games should matter. And I think bowl games do matter to the players that play in them, especially when you see all the fun stories in this game of guys who didn't get a chance during the season, or they were redshirting, or whatever it is. The Ken Seals story, the Nella Tupou story, the Riley Wormley story, like, all those guys, I think, like, absolutely they cared, and, like, awesome. At the same time, this was not the team that was playing a month ago. And so, like, I don't know that you can get that much out of it. It's frustrating, 1,000%. Yes, I get it. But also, if SC would have won, would you have been, like, wanting to hang up a banner also? No.
That's the thing.
You know what I mean?
Is, like, we can't act like this is the end all be all when USC winning wouldn't have moved the needle that much for people. Like, it wouldn't, like I said, USC winning would not have convinced me that Lincoln Riley is the right quarterback for USC, is the right head coach for USC.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to then turn around and say, like, USC losing means much of anything. Especially when, and like, Jaden Maava's taken a beating, and I get it. He didn't play well. And it was a problem, and it contributed heavily to USC's to USC's outcome here in the loss. At the same time, like, playing behind that offensive line, it clearly looked to me like he did not trust the offensive line, and he had good reason to not trust the offensive line. He only has, like, literally the only receiver that he has thrown multiple passes to this season is to Nook Hines. Yeah. And, Jaden Richardson, like, twice, and Jay Fair like twice. He'd never thrown passes to Nella Tupo or Carson Tabarachi. Like there's so much about this offensive performance that would put off a quarterback in terms of their flow, in terms of their confidence, in terms of their surety about how things would go. I'm just, again, like I'm not reading this as the end-all, be-all performance for Lincoln Riley. I'm not reading this as the end-all, be-all performance for Jaden Mayaba. Frankly, he played worse last year.
He did. This was his best bowl performance.
This was his best bowl performance at USC. So I'm not going to say it's not frustrating. It's very frustrating to lose the game that way. It's very frustrating for it to feel so much like Tulane, to the point where we were saying, with 5 minutes to go,
I think it was less egregious than Tulane, but it felt very similar.
It felt very similar in that USC needed to close out the game and USC could not. And either side of the ball could have closed out this game.
Yes.
The offense could have closed out this game.
Because they didn't have the punt thing in their own territory. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's I get people's emotions being high and all of that. For me, this game is so much more about the individual performances than the team performance, if that makes sense. I'm big mad that King Miller didn't get 100 yards in this game.
Yeah, I'm not only that, I wanted him to break Rojo's record. I love Rojo. I love that Rojo has the record.
Yes.
But like, it would have been cool. You want to see records being broken, right? Like, he ends up with 972 yards, 15 yards short of the USC freshman rushing record, which is held by Ronald Jones II. 28 yards short of 1,000. Both of those things would have been cool. He ends up with 99 yards on the game. He had over 100 before overtime.
Yeah, and then overtime
worked his way back a little bit.
Screwed him over. Yeah. And it sucks because he had a 15-yard catch in overtime.
Yeah.
It's again, I will go back to, if you want to focus on the head coach, you do that. If you want to focus on the state of the program, you do that. We've got a long offseason to do that, guys. What I am focusing on is, God, I love watching King Miller play. God, I love Tino Kynes, and I'm so excited for him to be wide receiver number 1. God, I like Nella Tupo, and I'm excited to see what he can do with a bit of playing time. It's going to be fun seeing USC's tight end room next season with Mark Bowman and the guys that USC already has out there. God, I'm really encouraged by Alex Graham. Alex Graham being there and Prophet Brown being there, one of them being a nickel and one of them doing something else on this defense. Really excited. Cam Crawford showed me more in this game than I have seen from him all season. He needs to be at this level more often. The little glimpses we saw of the linebackers like AJ Tuatele and Tamir Robinson and all those guys, like, there's so much there that I look at and think, okay, if USC doesn't go into the portal for specific positions, I will understand why. And I still think USC will end up going into the portal for specific positions, but like, I think there are so many guys coming up the way that that you have to look ahead and think, improvement is possible. Improvement is present, just from like, I don't know, some eye testy things from this defense.
Yeah. I think there were a lot of encouraging moments. I think the tackling I thought was atrocious, even before overtime.
Yeah.
Which to lose on a play in which, okay, a little behind the scenes during the watch along. For the vast majority of the watch along, you were ahead of me because we're watching on our own separate computers. You were ahead of me for most of the game. In overtime, you were ahead of me by like 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear you, like, I'm watching the play and he's getting bottled up. And you go on about how, like, you give some big, oh my God, like reaction. And I'm thinking, is she thinking that the field goal target line is the first down? Because like he was crossing that. I'm like, what's the big, and then all of a sudden he breaks like 2 more tackles and gets into the end zone.
Yeah.
Then it all made sense. Yeah. We got a bunch of super chats though. 300 GJW says the loss sucks because it's systemic of how SC loses. My frustration as a fan is that the program can't sustain any positive momentum. 1 step forward, 1 step back. Yeah, this is, I think, a completely great point in the sense of like, of all the losses that SC has had of late, like this is very similar, right? Like it's absolutely to a T. We can make the comparisons to the Tulane game, right? I think you can make the comparisons to the Maryland game in the sense, Tulane's a better team than Maryland. Like, don't get that part twisted. But in the sense of like, this is a game where you led by double digits late. You just had to finish out your drives and you weren't able to do that. And all of a sudden you gave them time to come back into the game. And as for the thing about the can't sustain positive momentum thing, this has been my frustration with SC, like, as far as I can remember. Like, it's always one thing, and then something else, the other shoe falls. The good part about this is that it falls in both directions. Mm-hmm. Like, SC loses this game, but everybody will be rebought in 12 hours from now if they announce the hiring of Pete Kwiatkowski as a defensive coordinator. You know what I mean? Like, like this is like quintessential USC football in the sense that it is a yo-yo of how you can go up and down and up and down and up and down, like constantly. We saw it in games this year where people not happy with the first half, but then happy with the second half, right? Like nothing is smooth. Nothing is as it's planned. And I think that like that is extremely frustrating. And I think that's emblematic of not only like the lack of like complete control and success of the coaching staff, but like the administration, the school as a whole, the sport, because the sport is so volatile right now. You know what I mean? Like, I think everybody would love a year in which everything seemingly goes right. And that just doesn't exist. Hasn't existed in a long time.
Yeah. Nick in the chat says, Pete will probably suck at SC. I mean, I will say, part of me wants, no, I just really, really, really want Kwiatkowski to be USC's defensive coordinator. That's just straight out. But one of the nice things, if USC manages to pull off that hire, which I am deeply, deeply invested in, is if Kwiatkowski can't have a successful defense at USC, then the question around Lincoln Riley will have been answered black and white, just straight up, that it's a Lincoln Riley problem. You know, like the Danton Lynn, I told you this in the car the other day, like Danton Lynn as a hire was basically Graham Harrell in terms of being a somebody USC was taking a chance on and hoping that they were going to be the next Cliff Kingsbury kind of person. And Lynn did fine, but Lynn's defenses weren't, anything special or write home about. Mm-hmm. Pete Kwiatkowski is an elite defensive coordinator who has produced over and over and over and over again elite defenses. Yeah. If he cannot succeed at USC, no one can succeed at USC at the defensive coordinator position. So yeah, that is a fascinating sort of side to this. But at the same time, like if Pete can't succeed at USC, then Lincoln Riley is not long for this world anyways. So again, it just comes back to where I have been and people have been mad at me for sitting in this place where, well, I'm just waiting out the buyout. Like, and so long as I'm in that state, I think it frees me up a little bit to sort of sit back here and say, like, Well, I don't know what you want to do. You're not firing Lincoln Riley right now, so we're just waiting out the buyout. If you think that this bowl game is a sign of all of the problems that USC has that you think will persist in 2026, if that's the case, it doesn't really matter because the buyout in 2026 is probably still too much of a barrier anyway. So, I don't know. It just there's like an it is what it is kind of thing to it that's very frustrating to have to sort of be in that position. But again, like if USC had blown out TCU, it wouldn't have really meant anything to us either.
Yeah. There was a comment I saw in the chat that, this could affect the 2027 recruiting class. No, it's not. Also, if SC wins, this doesn't affect the 2027 recruiting class either. No. I mean, where it could affect the 2027 recruiting class, if you want to go big brain, is if somebody would have shown out to the point that they don't go in the transfer portal, and then that pushes the timeline of a position having depth. But that's
the 2026 recruiting class will not be recruited by there will be an entire defensive staff that's completely different that will be looking at that class.
Yeah,
and the recruiting staff that's in place will be entirely consistent. So either way, this game means very little on the recruiting front.
Yeah. We got more super chats, so let's get to these.
Sorry.
Fighting on MC with the super chat. We appreciate you, Fighting on MC. We always appreciate Fighting on MC. Always here for us. Irvine Cattle Ranch has joined the RoT Squad.
Hey.
We appreciate you.
Cheers.
You can always join the RoT Squad. You get access to our Discord, we should probably talk about this later in the pod before we sign off, but that could be very important because we are putting together a College Football 26 Dynasty League.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to, with our Discord members. So if you want to play in our league on PlayStation, or if you have an Xbox, unfortunately, I guess you can also join. You can join us on Discord, and you can get an invite into the league, and it'll be fun. So you can join us there and join the RoT Squad. We also got a super chat from, where's the next one? Irvine Cattle Ranch also said, thank you for a wonderful RoT year. You make the sucky better. Fight on, every loss hurts. Perfectly said. And then we got another one from, where is it? Tim in LA. Paying my outstanding therapy bill for the last 5 months. I'm so done with this team. For the next week until it's time to renew my season tickets. Thank you for the great content this year. Fight on and beat the offseason. Thank you, Tim. We love you, man.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for your support. And everybody who supports us by tuning in and giving super chats and subscribing to the Discord and all of that kind of stuff. It's therapy for me too, Tim. It's therapy to come on here and just sort of talk things out a little bit. And I think being done with this team, we had a friend text us I'm so done with this team. I 100% get that. That's kind of where I've been all season. Mm-hmm. The one thing that's keeping me going right now is that it will be a new defensive coordinator. And I think that that a new defensive coordinator puts a whole new shine on the coming season. For better or for worse, it's a whole new shine. I'm pretty confident that the offense will still be fine. Will they be elite the way that they need to be? I don't know, but they will. They will be fine. I think my reasons for looking ahead to the 2026 season don't change because 3 or 4 different guys missed tackles on a play in overtime.
Yeah, I think the offense has been has absolutely played a role in why a bunch of these games have been losses in the last few years.
Yeah, not being able to score when you need them.
Tonight, prime example, right? You finish off the game, you win the game. At the same time, in the grand scheme of things, the reason why SC isn't where you want them to be is not because of the offense, it's because of the defense. And the defense has made strides the last 2 years with Dantlin as the defensive coordinator. But there's still a lot of strides that need to come still, right? Like, there's still a lot that they can improve on. And if they do go out and get a Pete Kwiatkowski, like you said, he's an elite defensive coordinator. He's the, like, you talk about Lincoln Riley being the biggest hire in USC football history within 100 years since Howard Jones. Pete Kwiatkowski, like, is that on defense? Like, legitimately. Of my lifetime, he would be the best defensive coordinator hire of my lifetime, surely. The only thing I can come close to is Monty Kiffin, and I think you could make the argument that it's Monty Kiffin because of Monty Kiffin. Like, Monty Kiffin created the Tampa 2 defense. He won a Super Bowl, like, iconic defensive coordinator. But, like, also, Monty Kiffin in 2010 was not Monty Kiffin in 2002. You know what I mean? Whereas Pete Kwiatkowski is still at the top of his game right now. Mm-hmm. So, like, if he wouldn't be the greatest hire in school history at defensive coordinator, he'd be number 2. And Monty Kiffin didn't pan out greatly as USC's defensive coordinator. You would hope that it would work for Pete Kwiatkowski. He's worked everywhere he's been. Then again, we said that about Justin Wilcox.
Well, Justin Wilcox failing at USC has always been my standard bearer for maybe USC's defensive coordinator position is just cursed. Yeah. Also, Justin Wilcox failing at USC is my number one argument for, okay, we've done the offensive coach thing now for a decade. Please, for the love of God, find a defensive coach, because it's much, much easier to find a good offensive coordinator out there than a good defensive coordinator. So, you know, that's a whole thing. But we'd still sort of need to see how this all goes. There was a question in the chat that I wanted to.
While you're looking.
Thoughts on the fumble that wasn't.
Yeah, go for it.
Seems like a blown call, says Trojan Fight. Okay, so my initial read on the fumble is that his arm was going forward and he had control of the ball in his hand. So by that definition of the rule,
I think it's the right call.
It was the right call in that it was an incomplete pass, because his arm is very clearly, after he gets hit, it very, very clearly progresses to this before it slips out of his hand and onto the helmet. Now, there was a wrinkle that somebody mentioned, and I haven't had the time to like double check the rule book to see. But there was somebody who said, I think it was even on the broadcast, I think he mentioned, the rules analyst, that the ball, the arm moving forward has to be the quarterback moving the arm forward and not the hit moving the arm forward, which I do think there is an interpretation of that hit where Cam Crawford's arm is what is propelling Ken Seal's arm forward. The problem being is that
but the ball never moved.
That's the thing, is like, I don't know how you overturn that call based on what we saw in video. If it's overturned on the sort of rule, like definition of who is moving the ball forward or whatever it is, like I would have been very nice. I would have loved that convenient ruling. But at the same time, every time I have seen that play adjudicated in college football and NFL, the call that was on the field is the call that gets stuck.
Yeah, I think the thing that blew my mind is you watch it in real time, it looks like a fumble. And you watch it in slow-mo, and it's not a fumble because the ball doesn't move as you would expect it to move. Like, usually, if I'm holding this chapstick and someone hits me from behind, the chapstick goes forward, right? But it was like this. Someone hits me from behind and it's still in my hand, which, like, is mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing that, like, he could still hold on to the football while hit like that. But he did, and he did. And if anything, it could have been maybe a backwards pass, but the camera angles were so bad tonight that I don't think that we were going to get enough angles to prove if that was the case or not. But I think they got it right. I think they got it right on all the calls that were reviewed. The first interception absolutely should have stood. There's a possibility that the TCU defender did not catch it, but there was no way to tell with the clips that we saw.
If ESPN had brought HD cameras to the game, maybe we would have seen. But yeah, based on what was there, yeah. Okay, there's a lot of Oregon fans in the chat tonight. Hi, welcome. There's a discussion of TCU versus USC opt-outs, which
at the time of our preview from a week ago, they had one opt-out, and that was Hoover at quarterback. If there were more opt-outs, it had happened in the last couple of days that we did not see in our pregame notes.
I am currently looking at a pregame report from College Football Network, which is unaffiliated with USC or TCU, who has the full list of USC's opt-outs, which include 15 starters or would-be starters.
Yeah.
And they have the full list of TCU players who are opted out or injured. And the answer there is there are 6 total that were opted out or injured. 3 of those were questionable. So Hoover as a starter, Dwyer as a
wide receiver,
as a
foot injury.
He was out, but he was not like wide receiver 1. He was sort of number
wide
2.
Receiver 2, yeah.
Bud Clark, Kylan Jackson, both safeties.
Yeah, Bud Clark had missed recent games too.
Yeah, so he was a starter, and Kavorian Barnes, the running back, who was also RB2.
He had missed the last 3 games of the season anyway.
Again, yes.
That's like County Wayman Jordan.
Yes. So the point being here that if you want to talk about which team was more depleted, it is not a competition. USC was more depleted by measures of 3. USC had more players on, if you picked offense or defense, out than all of TCU's starters that were sitting out in this game. It's not the same. USC's best offensive lineman was not playing. Best safety was not playing. Best linebacker was not playing.
That's
2 best wide
safety,
receivers. 2 best tight ends. Yeah, it's not the same. Does that mean that USC should be fine with losing this game? No, because it was
not
a winnable
the way they
game.
Lost it. Certainly not.
No, but when I look at this game and all of the guys that were out, I am proud of what I saw from USC's players in terms of their buy-in to play hard, to play like to them.
It wasn't a no-show.
No, it was absolutely not a no-show. It was the opposite of a no-show. It looked like everybody cared to be there and cared to try to win. And that is ultimately out. Because in the compare this to the Cotton Bowl, where USC's defense in the Cotton Bowl looked like they had nothing left in them. Mm-hmm. They just it was a no-show defensive performance. At least in this game, for all their flaws and for all their deficiencies, USC's defense played damn hard.
Yeah.
And USC, to act like guys like Tanook Hines weren't out there, doing everything possible to win this game, to act like King Miller wasn't running hard to try and win this game. Tanook Hines finished with 6 catches, 163 yards. He's wide receiver 1.
I think the thing here, and this is what makes so many of these conversations frustrating, is because so many of the reactions to these games are very black and white, and the problem is everything is true. Did SC have more guys missing in this game than TCU? Yes. Did SC care about this game and therefore you should take their play on the fields as is? Yes. Did SC blow this game? Yes. Did SC get some good performances out of guys that you might not have expected to have the kind of impacts that they did in this game? Yes. Was their tackling bad? Yes. Was Jaden Mayava bad? At least with his 2 interceptions? Yes. Was was King Miller good? Yes. Was King Miller ineffective at times because they ran up the middle? Yes. Was the play calling not great? Yes. Was the play calling potentially altered by the limitations of tools in the toolbox? Yes. Was the defense not great? Yes. Was the defense having a defensive coordinator call the plays who was given the keys this morning? Yes. You know what I mean? Like, all these things are true. And so, like, I think you have to take all of that context into play here.
I'm also going to run down TCU's depth chart for this game.
Yeah.
Redshirt senior, sophomore, redshirt senior, junior, redshirt senior, junior, redshirt junior, senior, sophomore, senior, redshirt sophomore, junior, redshirt senior, senior, redshirt sophomore, redshirt senior, junior, senior. USC's depth chart for this game. Redshirt junior, redshirt freshman, sophomore, senior, freshman, redshirt junior, redshirt sophomore, redshirt freshman, redshirt senior, redshirt freshman, sophomore, redshirt senior, sophomore, junior, sophomore, redshirt freshman, true freshman, redshirt freshman, junior, sophomore, redshirt senior. Like, you have to understand the game in the context in which it happened. And the context in which it happened is that USC's lineup was set up to be kind of discombobulated, and that's what we saw in this game. And what you have to focus on is, did they play hard? And I think they did. So,
yeah, I think when you look at the roster, there's definitely a lot of underclassmen playing, but that doesn't mean that they had to be the underdog. But you can be the underdog over at Underdog, underdog.com, my favorite daily fantasy app. You can join us over on Underdog. Football season is in the bowls. The big game is coming. A whole bunch of stuff coming down the pipeline. Week 18 is coming around. The playoff games are coming around. A lot of stuff to play for over at Underdog. It's all about using your ball knowledge and picking where a player will go higher or lower than their stat projections. Mix and match different players, different teams, even different sports. This week, I am taking Dante Moore lower than 228.5 passing yards. Ryan Williams higher than 2.5 receptions. You can join me over at Underdog, and with Underdog Unwrapped, you'll unwrap tons of promos all throughout the holidays. We've got boosts, gimme picks, deal reveals, and even some surprises sprinkled in. Now's the best time to get in the game, so what are you waiting for? Download the app today. Use the promo code Reign of Troy to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code Reign of Troy. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncbgambling.org. New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. Alicia, we've got another super chat from King
Vegeta.
King Vegeta.
Who popped back into the chat to say go Bruins.
Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate the Bruin tax. Is that a Bruin tax, you would say?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll take it. No, but seriously, thank you. We appreciate you. Tim with a super chat. IU fan here, but I was watching and rooting for you. Here's a friendly $5 in the spirit of Big Ten Brotherhood. I love your shows. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Go kick some ass tomorrow.
I assume, IU is Indiana, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They play the Rose Bowl?
They play on
in the Rose Bowl,
on
right?
Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
we're rooting. I'm rooting hard for Indiana in this. Nothing would bring me greater joy out of this playoff than Indiana winning it all. Like, it's just like one of the all-time great sports stories, and I am nothing if not a sucker for all-time great sports stories. So, yeah.
They have been fun to watch, and we expect more out of that. Certainly, as we get into the playoff, they'll be playing in the Rose Bowl against Alabama, which would be crazy to see. Alabama and yet another Rose Bowl, and one that they're not favored.
Sorry, it's going to be raining.
I know, isn't that weird?
It's a.
They say it doesn't rain in Austin. I think it doesn't rain in Pasadena. It doesn't rain at the Rose Bowl. Come on. Certainly doesn't rain at the Rose Parade. Maybe it won't rain. There'll be a dome that just a hidden dome that gets put over the Rose Bowl to protect it. I'm hoping. I'm absolutely hoping. Alicia, more thoughts on the game here. Ryan Sierra was nails. I thought it was a good rebound game for him because he had missed up in Austin. He had missed at the Coliseum against UCLA and rebounded, hit all of his kicks tonight, all right down the middle. All of them were money. Big for him, especially since he announced his re-signing for next season. So it was big.
Sorry, I was distracted. I need you to repeat that.
What happened?
No, what you just said, I wasn't
listening. What were you distracted by?
By Twitter.
Oh, something we're going to talk about later or something?
No, I was just, there's just a lot of things being said on Twitter.
Okay. So
I'm sorry.
Get off of Twitter. Here's the thing, folks. She is constantly, I'm on Twitter and I've got to tweet this. Get off of stupid freaking Twitter. There's no reason to be on Twitter. Get off of Twitter. That needs to be a drop. Get off of Twitter. There you go. No, I was saying that Ryan Sierra was great.
Yes, Ryan Sierra was great. He broke the USC record for field goals in a season, which is just awesome.
Pour one out for Quinn Rodriguez.
This is another reason why I was heartbroken that King didn't get that record, because it could have been a night of walk-on records, like walk-on record holders, which would have been really, really fun. But no, he was nails, and that was a big, a better way to go out this season than the way that he sort of ended it. And, going into next season, it feels like he's kicker. He's guy. He re-signed. He's coming back. Yeah.
If you get a re-sign graphic as a kicker, you're the kicker.
Yes, you're the kicker.
Yeah. I feel bad for Chiddington. Got Wally pipped.
Yeah. But
bummer for him. But great season for Sierra and finished it off nicely. And if your nails as a kicker, are you toenails? He was toenails tonight.
He was toenails,
yeah. He was toenails.
Dre asks, do you think if we get Pete as our DC, he'll get these players playing to their potential? Here's what I will predict. I believe that Pete will get the players that are worth playing to their potential, and he will identify the ones that are not worth playing.
I have one slight concern with Pete Kwiatkowski. And I'm curious if you have the same thought. But my slight concern is, first of all, if he's going to be the DC, you literally need to hire him tomorrow.
Yes.
Because get rocking and rolling for the transfer portal.
Yes.
But my one concern is that one of the things that he was so good at UW was the pressure that he was able to conjure up, particularly without blitzing. And they were so good at getting pressure with a 3-man or a 4-man front without bringing extra pressure because the defensive line was so good. And I think that that is the dream scenario of any defense, right? And he was so good at that. Can you have that success when SC's front has not generated pressure in the last 2 seasons? I don't know. That's the question. And then it becomes, is he going to bring wrinkles in with the defense? I'm not the one to talk about X's and O's with this, but is he going to have stunts and twists and whatever that he's going to bring that's going to make that viable? Maybe. If so, great. Is he going to be the one that makes personnel decisions, that finds the guys that will be able to do that? Great. And then the other thing is, or if he's not able to get the pressure with the 3 or 4 down linemen, is he able to pivot and find a way to get pressure when you do blitz, right? Like, that's going to be the key too. Like, you need to be flexible, and I have a lot of faith in him to be able to do that. We talk about like he's already hired, but like if he is the guy, because his track record is real damn good. Like, he's been great everywhere he's been. You look at the analytic numbers.
The pride of FEI.
And he's so good. Like, we're talking about top 10 defenses in FEI year after year after year after year. They were 13th, I think, Texas was this past season. Are you kidding? You put a 13th ranked FEI defense with SC's offense of late? SC's in the playoff. You know what I mean? Like, that's the type of defense you need to pair with an offense that SC has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. But the thing also is that, like, Kwiatkowski is the obvious home run hire. He's not the only home run hire that's out there. Mm-hmm. And where I feel relative peace over this whole thing is Chad Bowden and Jen Cohen are going to be 2 of 3 people making the decision on who this hire is going to be. I trust them to the end of the earth to get this right. Fight on Natty's said, question, do you believe that SC will really open, and I mean really open the checkbook for PK? Mm-hmm. Well, yes, because in 2025, Pete Kwiatkowski's salary was $1.9 million. In 2025, Danton Lynn's salary was estimated at $2 million. So USC was already paying Danton Lynn more than Pete was making at Texas. Mm-hmm. USC was paying Danton Lynn to be a top 10 DC in the country, and he was not a top 10 DC in the country at this stage. Maybe he would have been next year, but USC has like clearly showed a willingness to spend money on their assistants, and like I'm just Jim Knowles at Penn State is got $3.1 million to be their defensive coordinator.
They stole from Ohio State.
From Ohio State.
Yeah.
Do I think that USC will go up to $3 million for the DC? That's a good question. I'm not sure.
It's a good question, but if you're going to be serious about doing all the work that SC has, then the answer should be yes.
If it takes 2.5, I think USC does it easy.
I have a hard time thinking that they won't, given that they've invested in a general manager. They're doing all the little things right in terms of staffing and crossing the T's and dotting the I's in terms of recruiting staff, and they're working hard in all those areas. It would be real weird to do all that stuff right and then go cheap on your defensive coordinator hire when you're this far along in the system, in line of what you've built up. You know what I mean? They sort of have to open the checkbook, and I can't imagine that they wouldn't, because it would sort of go against the ethos of what SC is doing of late.
Why open the checkbook for this recruiting class?
Right. If you're not going to,
if you're just going to nickel and dime the defensive staff.
Exactly.
USC has not been nickel and USC's defensive staff is a very competitively paid staff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think, I hope people realize that in terms of investment in the program, USC has invested a hell of a lot of money, and I don't think they're going to invest less money now than they were on this staff as is. I think you could actually wipe this whole staff away, take all of their combined salaries, and put together a Pete Kwiatkowski staff without spending a dime more.
Yeah. No, I agree. The other thing, what is the greatest defense of all time?
I mean, my first answer is USC 2008, but I know that's not correct.
But like, I'm talking about the history of the sport.
Like NFL, like the 85 Bears?
The 85 Bears. Oh, yeah. That's a good call. I'm just saying, there's somebody on staff that's from the Buddy Ryan tree.
I swear to God.
Yeah.
No one on this staff should be promoted to DC. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I agree. I 1,000% agree. If I will say, if last year I was adamant, I feel like I was at least pretty adamant that Jade Mayava shouldn't be your starting quarterback, especially after the SRS distribution Las Vegas Bowl. I will be even more adamant that if there's anyone currently on the staff who is the defensive coordinator in week 0 when SC plays, in week 1 when SC plays whoever the hell they're playing in week 1, is it Fresno State, Louisiana, whoever week 1 is? If someone on the current staff is the defensive coordinator, something will have gone so freaking wrong. And I might actually believe our friend Saman, who thinks that SC is going to struggle for 7 wins next year, if that's the case. So
Joe in the chat says Raiders fire Pete Carroll and becomes available for DC. That would be really fun, but also maybe not.
No.
It's about 10 years too late.
No, thank you. No. Find on USC 14 says 2001 Miami. I think 2001 Miami is the best defensive lineup of all time. 2001 Miami, I think, might be the greatest team of all time. I think the 2008 USC defense is the greatest defensive season of all time. In what they accomplished, right? Because I think man for man, the 2001 Miami defense is better. Because you're talking about Hall of Famers like Ed Reed and whatnot, right? Man for man, the personnel wise, 2001 Miami was better. And 2001 was, I'm not going to take anything away from them at all, but SC 2008 USC's defense was there were so many shutouts, there were so many nutty performances from that defense. Maybe it's biased, but either way, you can't go wrong with either one of those.
Sean from beautiful Austin, Texas, was at the game. Sorry, bud. Asked why didn't they review the scoop and score? We've talked about this sort of briefly, but it seemed to us that it was obvious that his arm was moving forward. The question is the
moving
interpretation
forward and pushing the ball forward.
Yes,
in the
that
same
it was
grip.
Firmly in his grip when his hand got here.
Yeah.
From here,
which I will say,
here.
if you were there live and didn't see the replay, I would be losing my mind too.
Yes,
because watching it live, it looked like for sure it was out.
Yes,
and then you watch the replay in slow mo, and you're like, "Oh my God, he's still holding on to that thing."
The first replay where I was focusing on Cam Crawford and his hit, I thought the arm was not moving forward yet when he got hit. The problem is after getting hit, he is still holding the ball firmly in his control as his arm goes here. It just, they could have reviewed it, but it would have been a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah. All right.
Ilmatic asked why no Waymo tonight. He warmed up. My guess is they just didn't want to. They just want to let him heal up fully, and I support that.
Yeah. As much as it would be fun to watch him play.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch him next season than watch him tonight.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Duran in the chat says SC will be fine. Playoff team next year wouldn't shock me at all. Okay, I'm going to mention something about next season that I'm just going to tell you guys now. Little spoiler alert. This will be my crusade for the entire offseason. There are a lot of there was a mention in the chat earlier about SC's schedule is so horrible next year. It's the worst schedule ever created. And hard to imagine that they win any of those games because of the worst schedule ever. I have multiple thoughts about this. We're going to talk about this in the offseason a ton until the cows go home, whatever. I don't think SC's schedule next year is that bad. For three reasons. Number one, someone's going to suck. You know what I mean? We spent the entire this last offseason thinking that Penn State was good, Clemson was good, Texas surely was going to be in the playoff. Who else was bad? South Carolina was bad. Syracuse lost all their quarterbacks and ended up falling on their face. Like there were all these teams that were really good in the before the season that we all thought would have if they would have all been on SC schedule, we would have been like, God, they're going to be great. And then the reality is, outside of Texas, all those teams that I mentioned, SC would have beaten this year. And you would have not predicted that a year ago if we looked at the schedule based on what it was going to be, right? So, somebody's going to suck that you don't expect to suck, and someone is probably going to be better than you think that they are, right? Mm-hmm. That's just college football. The other part about it is, yes, it's a very tough schedule. But this past season, we talked about the schedule being the pathway for 9-3 was there, but I had a hard time seeing anything more than that because of the road games. Mm-hmm. Oregon and Notre Dame just always felt like automatic losses until proven otherwise, and it wasn't proven otherwise. And so that just was the case. Next year's schedule, I think there is one automatic loss in Indiana on the road. The other automatic loss is coin flip between Ohio State and Oregon, and probably Ohio State. The other games, I think SC, there will be another loss in there probably. There's probably going to be 9-3 again. But SC gets all those teams at home. SC's problems are on the road. And their two toughest road games are Indiana and Penn State. And I'm not going to sit here and say that they're going to beat Indiana. I'm not that stupid, but Indiana's also going to be without
Indiana
Mendoza.
will have a new quarterback. Indiana's team this year is quite senior laden.
Yeah,
I think so long as Kurt Cignetti is coaching that team, I think they're going to be really good. Yeah. But I think that it is. I think it's a safe assumption to think that next year's Indiana team will not be as good as this year's Indiana team, which is set in the context of this Indiana team being really damn good on both sides of the ball.
But next year's Indiana team still probably beats SC in Bloomington, right?
Either way, because of the road thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the other big road game is Penn State, in-state college, which is probably the whiteout game. Mm-hmm. Which on the surface, just put it in now, and now on with in pencil. But
what is Penn State next year? Who knows? We don't know.
Genuinely have no idea.
They could be a million different things.
There is. I think you're lying to yourself if you think you know anything about that Penn State team.
Yeah.
Like in any direction. If Penn State team was a playoff team, or if they were 2-10, I'd be like, yeah, I could see it. Just because they signed nobody. They're losing a bunch of players with the portal. They're going to have to go. They're going to have a lot of money to go out and get guys in the portal, which I think is going to be very exciting for them to see what they put together. But you don't know what the hell they are.
But USC has already shown that the getting guys in the portal, it's often a 50-50 proposition.
Yeah, so
it's going to be very hard to know.
Yes, and again, the other game, the rest of SC's schedule is laden with home games. And not that SC is had the greatest home track record, considering that they lost the top 5 teams, Penn State and Notre Dame, in 2024. But they played Notre Dame and Penn State better than anyone else had at home in those two seasons, in those two games last season. And so I think the evidence is that SC will at least be in all those home games. And so I don't think that you should just automatically assume that SC is going to struggle to be bowl eligible or some, because that's how people are talking about the schedule, and I think that's crazy. I think it's crazy. So
the thing is that you never know what a schedule is actually going to be until you see what those teams are going to be. The schedule on paper is very tough. There's no question about that.
Yes.
The schedule on paper could certainly result in an 8-4 that feels like USC didn't underachieve.
Yes, it sucks too, because you look at this past season, it was very top heavy in the schedule, and so after Oregon and Notre Dame, your two toughest games were Michigan, Iowa, who you beat at home, right? But Nebraska. And Nebraska ended up not being as good as we thought they were. Also, they had a quarterback injury, so that made it weird. But the Washington game next year, I think, is going to be sneakily tough. And like, that's to me what makes that schedule tough is that it's not the games against the high end opponents. It's the tier 2 teams that you have to face, right? Like,
yeah.
And SC plays a lot of those tier 2 teams, like Washington.
The tier 2 teams, though, okay,
Yeah.
so West Texas Mike says USC is going to struggle to be bowl eligible.
I don't think so.
Okay, if you wanted to give USC just, let's say that USC doesn't make strides from this year to next, that they are stagnant. Okay, losses at Indiana, at Penn State, to Ohio State and Oregon at home. Let's give them a loss to Washington at home as well. That's 5. The other Wisconsin under Luke Fickell is a mess. Maryland, UCLA, Rutgers, those are not games that USC should be losing. Yeah. Louisiana, Fresno State, those are not games that USC should be losing. So no, I don't think if USC is struggling to be bowl eligible next year, then something has gone very, very, very wrong. That's not just the schedule is tough. That means that USC has effed up majorly.
Yes.
Like
yes.
2023.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
And like,
I'm not arguing with you. I'm arguing with West Texas Mike.
Yeah, I think my prevailing thought is Indiana's a loss. Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, they win one of those. If not, I think they win one of those. Better look at it this way. Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon, Washington, I think they go 2-2 in those. They beat everybody else, and that's 9-3.
Yeah. Perfectly reasonable.
I think I think that's fair. I have a heart like, and the reason I say that SC would go 2-2 in Ohio State, Oregon, Washington, and Penn State, 3 of those games are at home, and SC plays better at home. And again, like, you got a senior quarterback, you've got, probably 2 of the better running backs in the conference. Like, you might have Pete Kwiatkowski. Like, if SC doesn't play up to at least how good they were this year, then they will have screwed their own thing up. It won't be because the schedule. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got to do your own part. So, anyways, we'll be back Monday. You know where to reach us. Email address, rantoftroy@fanside.com. Phone number, 818-643-7227. And again, we talked about it earlier. We're going to put together a College Football 26 Dynasty, online Dynasty. If you would like to join us on Discord. And to join us on Discord, you've got to join the RoT Squad.
On YouTube.
On YouTube. RoT Squad, what Squad membership? I can never say. It's a tongue, is it not? RoT Squad.
RoT Squad.
RoT Squad, there you go.
Membership.
RoT Squad. Yeah.
RoT Squad.
RoT Squad?
Membership.
Yeah.
Yes. So join that. Get access to the Discord, which, by the way, is just a fun place to hang out and talk USC football at any time of the year.
Yeah.
But also access to the Discord will get you access to the CFB 25 Dynasty, online Dynasty we're going to be setting up for PlayStation or Xbox, either way. Yeah. Also, pay attention to YouTube, where we're going to be doing more short-form content. Mm-hmm. In addition to shorts and stuff that we're doing on TikTok, I'm going to be trying to do regular episodes that are closer to 10 minutes long about whatever topics that come up.
It might be the winter, but it's still short season.
It's still short season in California, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robert Murdy. You are awesome as well. Thank you for everybody who supports the show, listens, watches.
Yeah.
Everything that you guys do for us is very, very gratifying.
Big shout out to everybody behind the scenes, you and me.
Yeah.
And
Jesse and Badger.
Yeah. Big shout out to Jesse and Badger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we couldn't do this without you guys' support. As always, this was season number 15 for covering from Rant of Troy, but the season 14 of the podcast. Next year will be 15 of the podcast.
It's wild.
Yeah. Crazy. So, anyways, we appreciate you guys. Thanks, Paul in LA. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks everybody else who was chimed in here. Fight on Natties. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Rowan Murdy. Thanks for the love. Keep chopping. Everybody, we appreciate you guys. We'll see you back Monday to talk more USC football. Until then, love one another. Is that good?
That's great.
You said you needed a sign off. I think that we can just go straight up Julie Chen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See ya.
All right, guys. See ya. See ya.